Hey everybody, Ron here. I ran D&D today, and the session was a lot of fun, but it didn't go the way that I thought it would go. First of all, two of the players didn't show up because there was severe weather today. One of them got called in. The other player is married to that one, so she didn't show up either. So I had two players. Still, I decided to run D&D anyway because these things happen. Adults have lives, have responsibilities, myself included, and things like this happen. And I decided that I would run with two players. One of the things I try to do to make up for that is try to run a makeup session for those other folks that miss. It has worked out so far. I'm under no illusion that it's going to work out all the time. Our schedules have so far been flexible enough for me to work those things out. So today's session, I had Septimus and Keth. And Septimus is a human artificer of House Cannon. And he has a goal to not only become the Cannon South Patriarch, now he wants to become a ruling council member of Sharn with other Dragonmark House representation. This is something that he decided that he wanted to do at some point in the campaign during what I am calling Season 2 of my campaign. Somewhere in the middle of Season 2, he decided that this is something he wanted to do with his character. I think it's interesting enough, so I'm going with it. So today's session was focused around his character. It started off with a big invitation. There was an invitation to the Feast of New Rain Ball that was being held at a House Fjallan Manor in 3 days' time. The party had just went down to Lower Sharn and dealt with Cephalos, the Mind Flayer, lieutenant of Sainthrax, of the cult called the Children of Sainthrax. And I was giving them a little downtime to pursue personal goals and to deal with some subplots, which is something I've been long delaying. And this is where we started. Septimus got this invitation from House Fjallan. He, a few sessions ago, rescued Ilya de Fjallan, or she's actually not Dragonmark. That's a naming convention in Eberron. If you're Dragonmark, you get the D in front of your name. She doesn't have the D in front of her name. But anyway, I get sidetracked. He got invited to this ball, and he, being a Dragonmark House Scion, rubs elbows with the nobility, so he knows how to dress and look the part. Keth, however, being a druid from the Shadow Marshes, does not. So he sent him to a groomer. There's a tailor that is in the manor that Septimus live in, and so clothing was taken care of, but Keth needed a bath and a manicure and pedicure and all that kind of stuff. So we had some fun role-playing that. Keth's player had a lot of fun role-playing that. So that was cool. Then we got to the ball. The ball began. Septimus wanted to make a grand entrance. Now, I had awarded him some followers from Matt Colville's Strongholds and Followers book. He has a small unit of Griffin Riders, and he and Keth and one of his Griffin Riders arrived on a pair of Griffins. They flew in and landed, making a quite the impressive entrance. So that was a way for them to start. Septimus cast enhanced ability on himself before going into the ball so that he can be, his charisma-based checks can be rolled with advantage or whatever. That was a small talk. He met with members of House Kendaric and House Deneth about his conspiracy, and I haven't talked about that, so I'm going to talk about that. Septimus's plan ultimately is to take control of Sharn with other members of the Dragonmark houses. And his reasoning is the Dragonmark houses are the backbone of Sharn. Without the houses, Sharn would be nothing. Despite this, the houses are subject to the whims of lesser unmarked politicians and sycophants who leech off the blood, sweat, and resources of the houses who are denying these houses their place. Furthermore, the recent events have proven that the council is, at best, incompetent and complicit with the aberrations at worst. And so, as an aside, part of the mission for them to go down and deal with Cephalos, they discovered that there were doppelgangers that have taken place of some government officials in Sharn. The cult of Sainthrax has been trying to slowly take over Sharn, and Septimus and the party are putting a stop to that, but Septimus is going to use that for his own personal purposes, which is totally fine. And this is what he wrote, and I thought it's pretty neat. And so that's what he's going after. His plan requires the buy-in of certain Dragon Marks houses. Of course, Kenneth, the house that he's a part of, is one of them. And then Deneth, Kundaric, Fierlin, and Civis. He already has a contact with Fierlin. It's Ilya, the lady that the party rescued a few sessions back, who has taken a liking to him. So that's the thing. And so he has an in with that. Problem with Ilya is that she's betrothed to somebody, and that guy is not he's not the greatest person in the world. I've played him up as, quite frankly, another jerk, and he's done some pretty bad, he's done some pretty bad things, and actually Septimus is trying to do things so that he can help Ilya get out of that situation. So that's fun. Members of Kundaric and Deneth met during the party. They went to a little secluded place to actually talk about stuff, and the dwarves of Kundaric are totally behind this plan, because the Korth Edicts, which are the set of laws that put the restrictions on the Dragon Marks houses, well, they were developed under the Kingdom of Galifar, and Galifar is no more. Galifar hasn't really been a thing, some would argue, for over 100 years, so those edicts don't count. And that's what Kundaric's stance is, and that's why they are totally into becoming rulers of Sharn, because, quite frankly, the Dragon Mark houses control everything anyway. They're the lifeblood of Corvair, so why not rule the most influential city in Corvair? Deneth, however, they are a little hesitant about it. Septimus assured them that the party would deal with Sayanthrax, who is the one that is ultimately behind all of the doppelgangers in his cult trying to take over the city. The Deneth representative agreed that would be a good thing, and that may be enough for them to buy in. Fierlin is basically in. Well, their member is basically in. Ilya is in. Others, well, that to be determined. And Civis, well, no one knows where Civis stands, because no members of Civis actually came to this ball. But there'll be more going on. So there was a lot of other role-playing that happened, and it was a lot of fun. That was the session. Now, what did I learn? I learned that players really like Spotlight time. Both of the players really enjoyed themselves in the session, and can't wait to see what comes up of this subplot the next time we get together and do stuff. Next week, we probably won't play because it's Easter and people will spend time with their family. We'll see when the next time we'll play. Probably be a couple of weeks. Anyway, when we get the gang back together, should be a bunch of fun. And until next time, see you later.